In 1901, while Europe crowned kings and America raced into the industrial age, one man quietly rewrote history. No newspaper printed his name. No statues stand in his honor. Yet he controlled more wealth than some nations. He didn't wear a crown. But emperors begged for his favor. This is the untold story of the richest man no one talks about. A man who turned dust into diamonds. And silence into power. His name: Alhaji Babatunde Ajayi. And the journey begins in fire. Point 1. A humble beginning. Babatunde was born in 1861 in Abeokuta, Nigeria. To a family of weavers. His father spun cloth. His mother sold food by the roadside. At 6, he was carrying water. At 10, he could calculate grain prices in his head. At 13, he made his first trade, selling cola nuts to travelers and flipping the profit into livestock. But what made him different wasn't just hustle. It was how he watched. How he listened. And how he learned. Every merchant who passed through town, he studied them. Not for what they sold, but for how they moved. Point 2. The fire and the deal. In 1875, a fire tore through his district. His family lost everything. People cried. Starved. Moved away. But Babatunde didn't run. He offered to buy what was left, burned down homes, empty shops, cheap. Why? People asked. He smiled. Because no one sees what it could be. 6 months later, he rebuilt with clay and stone. Then rented the shops back, at half the old price. People returned. The market bloomed. That's when Lagos merchants started to notice. Point 3. The silent partnership. In 1881, a Lebanese trader offered Babatunde a silent deal. He'd bring goods, salt, textiles, tea. Babatunde would sell them across Yoruba land. But Babatunde had one condition. No middlemen. He built direct trade routes, using caravans of young men he trained. By 1885, his name was whispered in port towns from Lagos to Kano. Not as a trader, but as the network. Point 4. The warehouse empire. By 1890, he controlled over 37 warehouses across West Africa. He diversified: gold dust, cocoa, palm oil, and gum arabic. He never overcharged. He never paid late. And he never raised his voice. But if you crossed him, you'd never trade again. His silence was power. Point 5. The British invitation. In 1893, the British Colonial Office summoned him. They wanted help expanding the Lagos rail line. They expected compliance. But Babatunde walked in, alone, with one request. You want land? Then build schools on it. The British blinked. But he didn't. He knew the future was educated minds. He donated 400 acres. Then funded teachers from his own profits. Point 6. The secret investment. He began investing quietly in gold mines in Ghana, cocoa farms in Ivory Coast, and shipping lanes from Senegal to Cameroon. He paid in cash. Used no signatures. Only trusted codewords and face-to-face trust. By 1901, Babatunde controlled assets equivalent to over $200 million in today's money. Yet he still walked barefoot in his village mosque. Still gave scholarships to orphaned boys. And still refused to be photographed. Because for him, legacy wasn't seen. It was built. Point 7. The Kingmakers. By 1901, he wasn't just a businessman. He was a kingmaker. He funded Yoruba leaders' rise. Brokered peace between rival tribes. And offered loans to colonial governors. Which they took. He never held office. Yet policies followed his suggestions. When war threatened in the north, he paid for peace talks. When famine struck the east, he sent 400 carts of food. He never spoke to crowds. But every village knew his name. Point 8. The Disappearance. In July of 1901, he disappeared. No goodbye. No ceremony. No grave. Some say he walked into the forest, never to return. Others say he went on pilgrimage, never looking back. But the truth? He left everything. To a trust. To fund education. To build libraries, clinics, and roads. All in secret. Signed only. For the people. Today, schools across Nigeria stand on land he donated. Families still tell stories of a man who gave, then vanished. But the world forgot his name. Because history favors the loud. But true greatness is often silent. So next time you hear of tycoons, empires, billionaires, remember the man with no crown, no titles. Yet more wealth than kings. Alhaji Babatunde Ajayi. The richest man. No one talks about. But what if I told you, there was another African king who once bought an entire European city? That story is next.